Hi Gloria, welcome to Zero to Pro. And first glance was amazing, really. Wonderful. You nailed this. I think you're one of the first people who nailed it in that the triangle was meant to be created in a way that wasn't so obvious. For example, if I was just standing there looking at what you did here, it wouldn't necessarily look like a triangle. It's because you moved your perspective into a certain vantage point that created a triangle, and that was really the point. So good one on that. Excellent. Okay, there's one picture that I was just really blown away by, which is this shot. We'll get back to that, but looking forward to getting that. Okay, texture, it's great. It's kind of a soft and a hard texture at the same time. There's softness there, but there's also like hard elements as well, like hard contrasts. Okay, a lot of energy there, whatever. And it's interesting. There's a lot less energy here. Okay, look at the difference between the two energies. That's the contrast of a hard texture with a soft texture. These kind of getting sensitive to these kind of things, like different textures and what are energized and what are passive, are going to be your keys to, if you decide to get into this professionally, buying things like different materials for your studio. If you're dealing with like cute kind of more relaxed children, maybe you'd want like more passive, more relaxed textures, which would be soft textures, and then this would be for when there's a little bit more energy in the room, etc. Okay, depth, that's great. Okay, depth is primarily based on triangles, so triangles give the illusion of depth. Okay, now it's interesting because I looked through these pictures already, so this is your second picture of depth, and it's quite interesting because the reason why this picture doesn't technically have so much depth to it is because there's no there's no illusion bringing you in. You've got a lot of depth here. You've got a lot of sea in front of you, whatever that is, and then you've got the bridge in front of you over here. The birds are very cute, by the way. That's cool. But there's nothing really leading you in. For example, if you were standing here on this bridge, under this bridge, and taking an picture looking down the bridge with the perspective, you could immediately understand that there'd be a huge amount of forward movement into the picture. Okay, just like here, it's not a huge amount, but there's more movement into the image because of this triangle, which is like a massive arrow kind of pointing straight in. It's funny because my video, I know, is flipped around, so it looks like I'm going the wrong way, but it would be funny if I did it that way. I would feel funny, so bear with it. Sorry about that. But anyway, the point is that you don't have the depth here like you have in this picture, which is funny because there's so much more depth. Okay, onward here with the patterns. Okay, one of my favourite patterns in the universe is books. I would crop in a little bit more. It's just interesting to note. This is a good thing to remember, is that to have some kind of empty area here is going to drain quite a lot of the energy created. There's a very strong energy created from these books. You've got vertical lines which are energized as opposed to horizontal lines which are more passive, and then you've got hard contrasts, you've got hard lines. It's a very I mean, the real energy is because of the upward lines, the vertical lines. But watch what happens if we just crop a little bit here, and how much more immediate energy there is in this picture. Okay, but well seen. These are the skills that you need as an excellent photographer. Just being able to look through. I always speak about this. Being able to look through the outer trappings, like the garments of the image, the graphics. You could say, like looking through the garments, as in. When I look, I don't see, like, when I'm taking pictures, I don't see people standing there, or I don't see like bridges. I see lines and shapes. The truth is, after a while you start to see the things again, but you understand them graphically, like internally. But the point is, you want to be looking around you. When you see a bench, you should see it as a composite of a bunch of horizontal and vertical lines, and maybe some kind of black motif at the side. Okay, to keep those kind of things in mind. And you'll be successful. This is great. You've got a great eye. You're really doing well. Excellent. good. This is a pattern. This would have been better as depth and perspective, to be honest. But it is a pattern. I mean, it's just a recurring series of vertical lines with a cute little kid there, Fluffy. And okay, so let's get into your shoot. Okay, I also just wanted to mention that you've got a Sony ILC6000. I do not know about this camera. It looks like it's doing a great job. And we'll find out. I'm going to find out as you go along, as things move along, what lens you have with it, because you'll see as you start understanding what these numbers mean, we're going to start learning more about your equipment and stuff. In the meantime, as you're shooting here, the camera's fantastic. Really impressed with this camera. In regards to this picture, we've got some. It's interesting. I think I would have done it. There was definitely good thinking going on here, but I think I would have done things a little differently. I would have gone lower down, number one, to make sure that the head here, this beautiful hair, was covered by the grey colour of this, whatever you'd call that, fence. But that would allow him to. That would allow his head to pop out a little bit more, so you'd make a more contrast between your subject and your background. It's also not a particularly. I mean, the look isn't. It's not a good look. Like it's not really here nor there. It'd be nice to see his face. So if you were to get down, that would really make a big difference. I'll tell you, it's a very important thing with children's portraiture to make sure that you do get down low. Like there's definitely a time and a place for a picture looking down on a kid, but generally it's better to get down low. So I think that would just benefit the picture here. I might even crop it into a panoramic as well. But it would definitely make a difference to be lower down. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so there's a few things here to learn. The great thing is that this is great, this is good beginning stuff. In a couple of weeks you're not going to be able to look at this picture. Okay, again, it would have benefited from getting down low. Be careful of light falling on noses and cheeks. The best way to get around that is for you to come around the side. Again, it's backwards on my screen, come around the side, so you're shooting from this direction, and then he would end up with just light on his head and his face would be in shadow. Okay, or alternatively get to a shady area. Okay, and this background again, look at things graphically. Okay, it's a fence. Sometimes you can have a white picket fence, it would be lovely, but this is a metal fence with kind of offensive tones and very strong lines. It's very distracting. It's just very kind of prison-y, so it doesn't really add much to the picture. Okay, here's a cute shot. I love the how would you say that, the undistractingness, how undistracting the background is. Okay, it make it even less distracting by cropping off this bit over here. I would still keep it a little bit cropped in like this. Now we could definitely add to this in post, but we're not going to do that because I want to look at this picture. But we could definitely add to this in post. The one issue here which you have to be careful of is cutting off his leg in this case. Now there's the rules to cutting off limbs. Okay, sounds kind of funny. We shoot people and we try not to cut off their limbs. Anyway, the best thing to do is to understand how the energies work. We've got into it in the first class. We're going to talk about more in the second class. We're coming down. This is one part of the image, okay, where it's a self-contained circle. But there's another part of the image where this line is actually taking you down. Now, what we really want is to create some kind of shape, generally a circle or triangle, that keeps us completely in the canvas. The minute there's a line that comes down and intersects with the canvas, it creates a kind of jarring effect. I refer to it as the boing effect. Okay, so that has to be remedied. That detracts from the image. If it's generally, even when it's a very intense image, it still generally detracts when your eye actually falls out of the frame. There's like the idea of your eye grazing the frame when it just gets to the side. Like, for example, if the picture was something like this, then we would say, no, this isn't such a good crop. But then we would say that your eye's grazing. It grazes the edge as opposed to boing, boings right into the edge. So this here grazes the edge. We could actually remedy that in this case by cropping more like here. Now what actually happens here, it's interesting because you can feel it's been greatly reduced, that kind of jarring effect here, by doing this. How did that work? So what's happening now is we're looking at the boy's face, and now we're coming down. Now this leg here, because it's cocked in, because it's bent inwards, our eye comes back up, you understand? So we are actually, now we've remedied that problem. The leg still is there coming out of the frame, but because of this line, our eye is now on a journey back up. Okay, so that means that everything's stayed in the canvas, and we don't even scratch our eye, we don't even graze our eye down here. This is actually a very nice composition. Okay, that's a good shot, by the way. That really is. That's a great shot for beginning this class, class 1. You're going to be so excited by what you're going to come up with, and you know, as time goes on. Okay, again the same issue. This is something that people do all the time. When people start getting, there's a lot of space up here that's not necessary. When people start getting sensitive to the idea of cropping, getting rid of excess space, what happens, and it's like without exception, is very strange, I speak about it all the time, is that they leave a lot of space on the top and they cut off stuff at the bottom. I don't know why people do that, but it's like without exception, literally without exception, it's like a rule. So even though we're going to learn a lot of things, your subject should be far from the background, etc. But you've got a nice moment. The camera dealt well with the lighting. I'm assuming that you are on a program mode, which you are, yeah. Nice picture. Now this is what we're going to take into Lightroom. Part of the course involves that I take one of your pictures each week into Lightroom and do some kind of edit. The energy in this image is awesome. We've got this big perspective line, this big triangle from the stairs coming inwards, taking us straight inwards. I mean, don't get me wrong, the subject is powerful in the first place, but just graphically. Then we've got these very hard, strong horizontal lines. They're actually a little bit off. There's a lot going on here. I'm not going to get into so much here. These hard vertical lines as well. Now watch what we can do here. If we take this picture, we'll take this into Lightroom. Now, he's a really cute kid, but I still think I'm going to... Just give me a second while my Lightroom kicks in. Thank you. So it would be better, the picture, what I'm going to do would be better if he had like a more kind of aggressive or quizzical look. Aggressive is not the right word for a kid, but a kind of more like maybe you'd say demure. Right now it's a happy, you know, he's got a happy grin on his face. So if it was a little more serious, this edit would go. But I'm just going to do it anyway because these lines are very energized, and it really would have done having him a little bit more kind of aggressive, but in like a kiddie way, if you understand what I mean. So now let's get to this. I think we're going to stay with color, actually. We're definitely immediately going to put up the clarity, okay? The clarity is going to give us a lot of energy, but we're going to add more energy around here, and I think we're going to put the vibrance up so the actual skin tones pop out a little bit. Okay, now let's take our brush and start painting around with a lot of clarity around all of this area. Could be that we're actually going to turn it into black and white, let's see. And we'll put the exposure up a little bit. Even, I think we're actually going to put the exposure down a little bit. There we go. Let's crop this off over here. Okay, and we're going to put a slight vignette, which means to darken the edges a drop. And we are going to brighten up his face a teeny little bit. And put a bit more contrast in there, that's great. There we go. Brighten up his hands a drop. And I think we are there. Look at that. Excellent. That really is a great shot. Super impressed. Looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. All the best.